We're live already. Good morning, welcome to Natasha Makes. It is the last Friday of the month. That kind of snuck up, didn't it? Anybody else? Yeah? I'm not ready for the end of August.
No.
Let alone the end of November. Nearly December, nearly Christmas, which means it's party time, right? Yes? We can party, can't we, this year? Sure. Which means that we are going to be requiring outfits. Which means that we have got the lovely Rachel Ilsley in today. She's going to show us dressmaking because it's better it comes from her than me. Not going to lie. Plus, she's made a rather fabulous skirt, which is the Joan skirt. I'm going to just manhandle her. Sorry, not Rachel, the mannequin, Beryl. Bit of flair. Now, you're going to make this yourself from your own pattern that you're going to draft. Rachel tells me it's really easy. I said, okay, come and show me that then. Because I live in fear of a wardrobe malfunction with anything I make myself. That's basically where my fear comes. So we're going to look at that this morning. We've also got for you, you might be wondering what these are. I know that party season is upon us, and if you have a small person in your life like me, then there is a possibility of parties or Christmas dresses or whatever it is. So Rachel, as you know, has Magnolia, her bridal wear shop, and she has a few party dresses / bridesmaids dresses / I don't know, even kids have proms, don't they now?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dresses, beautiful dresses. In fact, Rachel made this one. Look at this. I mean, how do you even do that sort of thing? But I mean, that's a whole other thing. But we've got these just as one-offs. So Rachel, am I right in thinking that these are examples?
Yes.
Not been worn?
Yes.
The companies that you got them from went under, unfortunately, through lockdown.
Unfortunately, yes.
So there are no more like this coming. So what should they be? Prices around?
At least twice the amount.
At least twice the amount. Okay, so have a look on the website. They are one-offs. They're aged sized. And I'm going to be completely honest. Pink one's already gone. There's a certain Captain Small that will be... look, isn't that sweet? So that's Christmas sorted for her. We're going to go to the Panto, you see. So she's got...
Oh, that's fabulous.
Oh, yes, I am.
It's behind
That's very exciting. No, it's that one. All the bad jokes this morning.
Yes.
Welcome. Should we see who's with us, Rachel? Because, you know, some people forget that we're here on a Friday because we're only here once a month on a Friday. Let me just see where we are. I nearly forgot, to be fair, because I was busy doing all the advent boxes. Where are we? Good morning, Gwyneth. Good morning, Grace. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Rona. And good morning, Eds. Eds was in yesterday. Eds is Gemma's mum. She was in yesterday and helping us. It was all hands on deck, wasn't it, to get those advents done. Good morning, Jane, as well, and Alison. Hello. Oh, and Karen. Morning, Tash. Team Makes and Rachel. Hello. I mean, Karen is a dressmaker extraordinaire.
Oh, that's Karen.
Yeah.
I know. Karen from Wigan.
Karen from Wigan of the dresses, yes.
Yeah. This is one of her necklaces, actually. And
she makes beautiful jewellery.
Mm.
That lady is super talented. Morning, Jan. Morning, Claire. Good morning. Almost forgot you were on. See what I mean? I was watching Surgeons on the Edge of Life. Oh, crikey. Morning, Myra. Morning, Julia. Morning, all. Morning, Linda. Morning, Sean. Welcome, Rachel. Nearly forgot too. That's okay. It's all right. Morning, Jane. Morning, Claire. Morning, Grace. And, Claire is busy crocheting pigs and blankets. Morning, Vicky. Vicky's going to be working hard again, isn't she? Been distracting Vicky. She's meant to be working hard. Morning, Liz. Morning, Rebecca. Good morning, Alison F. She's good morning, Natasha and everyone. Welcome to Rachel. We've put Gary to work, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah, he's working very hard actually. I heard Inga say, "Gary, do you need glasses?" I thought, bit of a strange thing to ask. Because I've got the order sheets here, so if you could just read out what I need to cut, that would be great. I mean, you can't falter, can you? Can't falter at all. Right, morning Ros, morning Janet. So, on Wednesday, I was, not going to say tardy, that's not the word I want. Rushed off my feet, that was the one, and didn't get you the half meter heavens in time to show you. So because they still went live Thursday, as they should do at midnight, but I didn't show them to you. So I'm going to make up for that little error now. So here they are. The other thing that I should possibly shout about quite a lot is our Black Friday 15% off. Now you can't get 15% off machines or anything like that. Or anything drop ship. What does drop ship mean? My mother says I always have to be very, very, very careful how I say that, because otherwise it sounds rude. Drop ship. So as long as it's coming from us here at Natasha Makes, 15% off. Nice. Right, should we have a quick look at these then? I believe fill your boots is what we're saying, right? So these are on a special price. I've only got 2 of these, but they were just moders, and I'm just thinking getting your Christmas fabrics in. 2.5 meters of fabric, you can make yourself there. You can make 2 gift bags. And let's just get rid of all that paper that gets thrown away. Now, Lisa Chandler, we heart her very much, yes? But what happens when you suddenly go and put a gold motor grunge in there? Look, it picks out all the gold highlights in her fabrics, and it's really rather special. So that got stuck in there as well. Beautiful. And then I found, and I've only got a couple of these, with the pumpkin. Look at that. But this gold is really pulling through the gold in these butterflies. This is your motor, hits the spot in pumpkin. Like a bit of that. Beautiful. So I think we've made up for the fact that it was late, right? And then these ones, you've got your gold in there. This is another Moda Christmas fabric here with your poinsettia. Well, it's holly, but it's from the poinsettias range, I think. And then that is a... Ooh, that is a... Not our normal plain. I think it's a Spectrum, isn't it? It's not a Moda Bella solid, it's a Spectrum. And then, what about... If you want to go all gold and lovely there, and I put that with bottle green because I think that looks lush. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Here we go. And then, if you want to match up your Christmassy fabrics again, so you could make your crackers. We've got fabulous crackers, and they're the crackers that keep on giving because you use them every year. Okay. And then we have got Social Climber by Anna Maria Horner in a 1/2 meter heaven. Look how beautiful that is. I just love this. Really beautiful. We're going to be working with some Anna Maria Horner fabrics today to make this skirt, but we've also got lots of I'm going to say backing fabrics, but they're mercerized and they just feel gorgeous, and I really do want skirts out of them. We've got lots of cave stuff. Right, Scandi Christmas. This is the last of it. When it's gone, by the way. So we've put these on a really special price, 2.5 meters of these. So I would be making all of my Christmas decorations with these. I'd be doing all my homemade crackers so that I can bring them out every year. That's what I'd be doing with those. All of your cartonnage. Oh, these ombre, by the way, just so that you know, don't know if you knew, but these ombre, the grey and the red, both ombre. It's special. Look at that. Gorgeous. And again, when these are gone, they are gone. This is the last of our Christmas fabrics. So they're on a really special deal. And of course, today you're going to get an extra 15% off. That's a bit crazy, isn't it? There we go. And then this one is brand new in. This is Chameleon. Gemma and I had lots of fun with this. And look, with salmon. Do you want to see him up close? Because he's rather fabulous. Ooh, come on, camera. Ha-ha! Look at his eyes! Look into my eyes, look into my eyes. They are a bit like that, aren't they? And then... And then. Sorry, Rachel, I'm just whizzing through these, and then it's over to you.
I was just thinking of Christmas bunting, actually.
Oh, well, I mean, all of those things. Now, this is... We had a couple of leaves left over after the cave subscriptions went out. So if you've got your subscription and you loved it and you want to top up, this is the last of it. I don't have any more of it. So this is a Philip Jacobs for the Cave Facet Collective. It is chrysanthemum. Japanese chrysanthemum. He does like chrysanthemum. Now, what about this one? This is Anamira Horner. Now, we've also got this cut to order because I think a lot of you might want to do these for skirts, because I'd quite like it as a skirt. There we have that, and that is called Source Code. So this fabric was brought about after she took a photo of her garden at night. Oh, lovely. You can kind of see that, can't you? This is your Coleus from Philip Jacobs for the Cave Facet Collective with Sky. Again, this is the last out of the subscriptions. We had a couple of units left over, so they've gone into the half meter heaven. So if you had your subscription, then lovely. Right, Adita Sitar. We have got this in 2 different colorways. Look how beautiful. Now this is on a really special price because this is a Modabella solid. Yes. And then this one is one of our normal solids. So it's the same fabric, different colorway. But just gonna leave that there for you to have a good old look at. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So that's where we're at with all of that. That is your Half Meter Heaven collection selection. They are already live. You don't even have to wait until midnight for those today. Oh no, you do not. The other thing to mention for you today is that we have got, if you want to do the skirts, we have got it in 100% cotton chambray. Perfect. Rachel's going to explain about the sizings. We've also got these backing fabrics. Now these backing fabrics need to go up in price. We've just had notification from the supplier that actually we've been billed a much, much higher price. Free Spirit have ramped the price up on the mercerized cottons significantly. We will hold them for today. Okay, for today, and you get your 15% off on top of that. So what I would really suggest is if you are a quilter or if you're dressmaking or anything, I want a maxi dress out of both of these. Not going to lie, Rachel, can you do a maxi dress pattern, please? Thank you very much.
Of course.
Thank you, good. Just like to get my
When would
order
you
in
like
there.
it tomorrow?
Well, I mean,
This
yesterday,
afternoon.
if that's
Oh,
right. Yeah, this afternoon. In fact, just
yeah.
don't go home. Just stay here and make me some dresses. That'd be
Silly
fabulous.
me, yeah.
Yeah. I like her can-do attitude. What can I say?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just love these. And also I want palazzo pants out of these as well.
No problem at all.
Beautiful, good. Now these are 56-inch wide with the spots down here. They are lovely organic cotton. Really, really beautiful. So they are also perfect for the skirt. We are going to do it out of an Anna Maria Horner Glow, Echinacea Glow. But look, we've got all of these Anna Maria Horner fabrics cut to the half meter. Gemma says they're all up. They are. But also, you see, the last of the Tula Pink, not going to lie, also rather fabulous. Yes. So they are your choices today. I'm going to get out of the way because there's a lot of sewing that needs to be happening. So I'm going to shimmy on over here. You can have a little, oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. That's what we're making. That's it, the Joan skirt. Why is it called the Joan skirt? Rachel?
Yes, it is the Joan skirt.
Why is it called the Joan skirt? And hello and welcome, by the way.
Hello, everybody. It's really lovely to be back, actually.
Thank you very much for coming. This is the first time in this studio, isn't it?
It is. Yes, it is. Yes, and it's fantastic, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen. So this is my pattern I've got of the Joan skirt.
Right, okay. If you want to show that, then do you want to put it in front of the sewing machine? Put it in front of the sewing machine. There we go.
Okay.
And then I can turn it around, spin it around. No, other way. If you look on that screen, you can see where it's. There we go. There it is. There we go. Now, these are being printed off, aren't they? All professionally.
They are,
all professional-like.
Yeah. As we speak. So this is just my master copy that I'm going to explain how it's all made. Now, I'm bringing out several patterns. This one is the first one of Joan, because I want to take the mystery out of sewing, especially people that are starting off sewing, and it's a little bit scary.
Yes.
You know, it is scary, and you buy a pattern, you've got all these bits of tissue paper everywhere, and you don't know where to start. And although you've got the instructions, sometimes they, you know,
Do you know
they
the biggest
can,
fear for me?
yeah,
Is am I gonna cut the right pattern out?
yes,
Or am I not? In which case, if I get it wrong,
yeah,
have I then got
wasted
to
your fabric.
well, or try and sellotape the blinking thing back together?
Yeah,
And because it's such fine paper,
yeah,
it's never going to happen. So
Yeah.
I just avoid.
yeah.
Or
It has happened to me that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're trying to find the lines that they used to be.
yeah,
But yeah, and it's just really just to take the mystery away. And with this no pattern skirt, it's a series of measurements.
okay.
So you can't get it wrong. Okay, so if you
Okay.
measure your waist and you
Which
go,
we did earlier.
which we did earlier.
Yes, mine. Yes.
So Natasha's a size 12-inch waist.
Am I? Yes. I think
So
you measured my ankle by mistake.
yeah. So as long as you do the right measurements, that's going to fit you. Whereas this is another thing with ready-made patterns. Sometimes you cut out and they give you a series of measurements that is befitting to a particular size. And for me, it always ends up too big or tight in certain areas or whatever. So if you measure yourself, you can't really get it wrong. So this is a really, really simple pattern to start off with. And as Natasha's just said, why is it Joan? Well, everybody really knows my story now. I've actually put it quite public.
Well, you can't assume everybody
Yeah.
knows everything.
Well, basically, I was adopted as a child.
Right.
So I had a very, very fortunate upbringing. Very, very good parents that I had that adopted me. They were foster parents anyway, so they fostered hundreds and zillions of children. I'm not zillions, but you know, near enough.
Yeah.
And so whenever we used to go camping, the dormobile doors used to open at the back. Way! Like there's all
It'll
the kids
spill
running out. Yeah.
Amazing.
So you know, we had a happy life, and my dad was very musical. There is a pattern going to be called Benny after my dad
Ah.
eventually. Yeah.
Not after Benny Hill.
No.
No.
No, no.
That would be.
Although we did used to like Benny Hill, but it's not after Benny Hill. And so there is going to be a pattern called Benny, but this is Joan after my mum. Okay.
Oh.
She passed away 14 years ago now. No, sorry, 12 years ago now, from pancreatic cancer. So it was a bit of a double whammy for me because obviously, you know, from being adopted, I never knew my real mother. So yeah, it was a bit horrible. So Magnolia basically is,
And that's your business.
that's my business name, Magnolia. It has been Magnolia Bridal Designs, but because we're going into other areas eventually, to help Gary as well post-stroke, so he can be involved as well, it's going to be Magnolia Designs.
Lovely.
So it's going to cover an awful lot.
Yeah,
so it's
covers a
quite
magnitude,
exciting.
isn't it? Yeah.
So that's where Joan comes along. Magnolia, the name Magnolia, my mum, when she was still alive, she had a little bungalow in Ringwood,
With-
Hampshire,
what did she
beautiful
have
little
in her
bungalow.
garden?
And she used to have this enormous, great big magnolia tree in her front garden. And every year it used to blossom, and it used to be, it was just out of this world. So in memory of my mum, I decided to call it Magnolia because my mum taught me sewing.
Perfect.
So she used to be a bridal seamstress.
And
This
here
is
you
where it
are.
all knits in together.
Yeah,
So she taught me how, you know, all the boning happened. She was a bridal seamstress anyway, so she taught me all the tricks of the trade. And you don't realise what you're actually being taught until later on in life. Quite often we all pick up
Yeah,
again.
Absolutely.
You know, when you go through your teenage years, obviously boys come into the picture, and you know, of course not for me, but
No.
you know.
No. Of course
And
not.
you know, so as years go on and you have babies and all sorts of things, then all of a
Immaculately, because
sudden,
boys never came into the picture for you.
no. Oh, yeah, well, they
Amazing.
did. Yes, I don't want you to think, I don't want you to, although we are gender fluid in this environment. Yes, it was always boys, But
I'm only
so
joking.
yeah, I know. And just to get Christmas out the way, a minute,
Natasha, you've been dealing with
Natasha.
Gemma all morning, haven't you?
because I've been looking at Gemma all morning.
know,
That's what it was.
I know.
As lovely as she is. So Christmas coming along, I just have to say to you that Christmas is a nightmare for me because I can't stand near a Christmas tree. Do you know why?
Are you allergic? Gemma's allergic.
In case I get tinnitus. Thought you might like that one. Anyway, that's that one out the way. All
Okay.
right, so no.
That's awful. I can only
It
apologise.
is terrible, and I do apologise. Right, on to the Joan skirt. So
See, Gemma can't stand next to me because she's allergic. Which isn't really very funny if you're Gemma.
Oh, no.
But yeah.
Is she really allergic to Christmas trees?
Yes.
Oh, really?
No, she's actually allergic to
I
Christmas
wasn't
trees,
trying
yeah.
to be funny with
No, well, you
with,
see, so we only realised that when we had our wreath along last year, we couldn't work out why she kept sneezing.
Oh, the poor
She was
thing.
sat next to
Oh,
the
it's
wreath.
probably the pine in it and things. Oh, dear.
So what do we need to know with this here skirt?
Right, so I'm
then?
going to start from the beginning. So I'm going to read through the pattern, okay, as you would be doing at home when
Okay.
you receive my pattern.
Okay.
So I've tried to be as comprehensive as I can. So I'm telling you also in the pattern the tools that you need to make this pattern. First one is pretty obvious, really. You need a sewing machine.
Yep, it's going to help.
It's going to help. Now, either an invisible or standard zipper foot.
Right.
So I'm not quite sure if there is one in there or not.
Yeah, there should be.
I'm sure we've got somewhere around. That's because when you're inserting your zip, you do need a zipper foot so you can get quite close up to the actual teeth of the zip.
Okay. And we'll get to that, and we'll get all the close-ups
and there's a
that we
very
need
easy
then.
peasy way of putting them in. So again, a lot of people are really scared of putting zips in. Just don't be.
Okay.
All right. So there's an easy way to do it. An unpicker. Where's my little unpicker?
Because let's face
Here it is.
the minute that you start, you need an unpicker.
You do, and this is every dressmaker, every sewist's best friend.
Yep.
All right.
For sure.
Because it doesn't matter who we are, and I've been sewing a long time like you have, Natasha. There's comes a time that you think, oh no, I've gone and sewn too far, or oh, no, I shouldn't have sewn down there. So you need the unpicker, and please don't be frightened to use it. We've all made mistakes. That's, it happens, and I still make mistakes, but I try to learn from them. So sharp dressing making scissors.
Got that? Yeah.
Also, I would recommend a paper pair of scissors because you should never use
Paper in the William Morris spinny roundy thing, the rainbow ones at the top.
these here.
Yeah.
So you also need a pair of paper scissors when you cut out the pattern, because you should never ever use your dressmaking scissors to cut out paper because it blunts them in seconds.
Lo says it also helps to hold a sharp thing when people come in and try and annoy you when you're trying to sew.
How violent. Yeah.
She did say, just say hold it.
Yes.
You know,
hold
I mean,
it.
she didn't even say brandish. She just said hold.
Yeah. The
Yes.
thought might come there,
I
and then
mean,
it just goes
we
straight
couldn't
away.
possibly comment. Yes.
Sharp dressmaking scissors, an iron, and an ironing board. Because another good tip when you're dressmaking, iron as you go along.
Yes.
If you make a complete garment and then you think, oh yeah, I think I'll give that a press,
No.
it's impossible to iron out. Open up the seams and that sort of thing.
We have not given you an ironing board. We've given you our ironing mat.
An ironing
which
mat.
will give
That'll do
you,
for now. Yes, that'll
well,
do
that's
for today.
what the the tailors on Savile Row use.
Yeah.
So I figured it was good enough for us. Right. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us.
I like it. So I'm
Yeah.
using the equipment that Savile Row uses.
Yeah.
And
And that felt that it's made from is what the Queen uses on her on the uniforms for her guard.
Oh, I thought you were going to say on their horses.
No.
No.
It's the felt on the underside of the
Oh,
collars
wow.
of the.
Oh, yes.
And that's,
Actually, you
that's the
do
same
use
felt
that,
it's used.
a felt lining anyway, when you are tailoring.
Yeah, you
So,
see, we've got it all here.
We do have it all. Now,
Oh, so
Also-
Alison says, my daughter's boyfriend, hang on, my daughter's
Yeah.
boyfriend's mum, with they're a little convoluted, but we get there, is called Joni and has just started sewing. I think this pattern might be an ideal Christmas present for her, seeing that it's almost personalised.
Yes.
Ta-da!
It's that's perfect. Please let us know if you do purchase it, because and I'd love to see pictures as well of people's makes as well, with them
Perfect.
wearing it maybe, or the
There you
person
go.
they've made it for
Lovely.
wearing it.
Margaret's apologising for being late. I can blame husband. He was late with his tasks.
Margaret, just don't do it again, okay?
I know. Shocking,
No,
shocking behaviour.
that's fine.
I know.
So pins may be a very sort of thing, but with the pins I always use glass headed pins, because I have used plastic headed pins and you forget the pins are in there, you start pressing it and they melt all over your iron.
Our magic pins you can press on as well.
Oh,
and are
can
also
you?
really, really lovely to get in and out. So
if you have magic pins, obviously that's a good thing, but obviously I use the glass headed pins as well. So
anything that's not going to melt is an advantage here.
and it is really important.
Yeah, sure.
Good quality thread.
Yeah.
Obviously we've got Orifil being used today. I tend to use something like Gutermann or anything like that. It's a really good quality thread. The cheaper thread that you get, for £1 a reel isn't always the best quality. And you don't get a good. If you're going to buy this type of fabric, you want a good finish on it as well.
Of course.
You want a nice garment. You need a 7 to 8 inch invisible or ordinary dress zip. Okay, like this. If you have to buy a longer one, that this one is, there is a trick that you can actually size it down, so don't panic if you have to buy a 12-inch zip and you only need 8 inches, okay? So there is a way around that. You also need 2 hooks and 2 eyes. That's to fasten together the waistband. Don't know if you can see that.
Just on the side there. Okay.
And the little hooks and eyes.
Right. Got it.
All right. So that's it. So, and interfacing.
Give a quick spinner back around.
There we go. And you also need, obviously, your fabric. So you need 1.5 meters. If you're going to be using between 44 to 48 inch dressmaking fabric, that will actually do up to a 32.5 inch waist and 22 inch length. This is what I've based my pattern on. Okay, so if yours is slightly different or you want slightly different measurements, what I would definitely recommend is that you make what we call a toile. Okay.
Yeah.
So before you start cutting into your expensive fabric,
calico, which is absolutely perfect for that. And what I would really recommend is that you go for the super wide.
Yes.
Because then you just get loads.
Exactly, and then you can base your pattern on how wide you want it.
Absolutely.
And then team it up with your fabric that you want to use. And then making a toile, it just means it's a pretend version, but then you get a perfect fit and you can use that as your pattern. So 1.5 meters, either 44 to 48 inch width or 59 inch wide fabric. And I know there are some wider fabrics here. You can then make up to 45 inch waist. Now you might ask me, it might be obvious why it's different, because obviously as your waist expands you do need just slightly wider fabric, so don't be frightened. And also if you think you've made a mistake, the biggest faux pas really is to get yourself into a bit of a tiswas. Nobody's watching you at home. So
well, unless it's us.
Unless it's us, of course.
Yeah, in which case, can't
no
promise
one's
that.
laughing at you. You're having a go, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. If you feel yourself getting into a tiswas, put it down, go and make yourself a cup of tea, have a cup of tea and a biscuit, and then come back to it completely refreshed. And I've done that many times
with any sewing, you know, and I've done it live on air where I wish I could have just walked off and had a quick moment and then come back on, but you can't. You can't when it's there. But you at home can. So that's very important. Yes.
And as you can imagine, with some of the wedding dresses that I have made in the past, there's been quite a few of those moments, I can tell you.
Well, I mean, just to put it into perspective, on average, how many wedding dresses do you alter a year?
Over 200. So that's what I have been doing.
Bit of sewing that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fair bit of sewing, that is. There have been a few moments, I can tell you. But, you know, you just, like I say, I just walk away now, have a cup of coffee, come back.
Yeah.
And it's all okay.
Yeah, perfect.
So we all have those moments. Right, so what we're going to do, oh yeah, and seam allowances on this, it's 1/2 inch.
Right.
Okay, for the actual skirt. And the waistband is 1/4 inch.
Okay.
Now, the skirt is actually based, you actually place it on the fold of a fabric.
Right.
So if you imagine
So
it's
if
on the
we're
fold,
using the super wide, so the
Yeah.
108s, if we're using those, which is
you
going
need to
give
fold it twice.
fold it twice.
Yes.
Okay.
To get it along both sides, if you see what I mean. So if you have and also if you've got a fabric that has got a directional print,
Yeah.
like this Anna Maria Horner has, so obviously all that's facing upwards.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that your skirt, when you lay the pattern on there, that it's all facing exactly the same way.
Yeah, it's just those little things, isn't it? Just take
Yeah.
a moment, double check it.
Absolutely.
Elizabeth says that she's left stuff for a day to realise it wasn't as wrong as
Oh,
she'd
yeah.
first imagined. And
Yeah.
Lo says just drink gin while sewing, it helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I recommend that.
Yeah.
You will also need a little bit of interfacing.
Medium or lightweight?
You can use medium, lightweight. It all depends on how you like your waistbands. Some people like them quite firm.
Yeah.
You know, other people like it a little bit more relaxed. Obviously, it won't stretch.
I like to be able to breathe.
Right, so I would suggest lightweight.
Okay, good. And
Okay, because this is a
as
good
well.
quality cotton as well.
Yeah.
So lightweight, and that all that does is just firms up the waistband, so it's just not floppy and it folds over your waist.
Oh gosh, I wish my waist would firm that man as well.
And me. So the next step then is let's get measuring. This is starting to get a bit exciting now because the skirt will then start to appear on the paper as a pattern.
So how
All
much
right.
time do we need to put aside to make this?
I mean, I was photographing as I was making it
Yeah.
as well. But I think that, you know, if you just went straight into it, you had all your stuff, I reckon maybe 2 hours,
Wow. Great stuff.
because there's just 2 pieces.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Well, actually 3 pieces, but you cut one and you end
Show
up with
us,
2. Yeah.
show us. There
So
we
I
go.
will show you that, yeah. Otherwise we get a bit too technical too soon. So what I first of all did, and I did this as a prep because these sort of things always go wrong when you think you've got the camera pointing at you. So what I did was I laid my fabric in half on top of the paper, and then I just measured down so that so that's my full width of the fabric. So I know I can't go outside those lines.
Right.
Okay, does that make sense?
So you're working to the size of your fabric.
I am indeed.
Okay.
So now we're going to be working on a waist of 32 inches. So what you need to do, there's a formula, okay, that you have to use. Your waist, which is 32 inches, and you divide that by 4, okay? The reason being is when the fabric is turned on a fold, that's 2. So then when you open it out, that makes it 16.
Right.
All right. And then when you've got your second piece for the back, you then do it again. So that makes it 32. All right. Plus you have to measure an extra 1/2 inch, which then gives you your seam allowance down each side.
Okay. And this is
All
all
right.
in the pattern, so you don't
This
have
is
to remember
all
any
in
of
the
it, which
pattern.
is
So
fabulous.
you don't have to scribble down anything. You know, obviously order the pattern. I'll send you the pattern, and then you can do it from there.
Perfect.
All right. So what we've got then, based on a 32-inch waist, because everybody's waist is going to be different, that works out to 8.5 inches.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing that we need to do, a little pen. Actually, I'll write it in a thicker pen if that's all right.
Go for it. Yeah.
So this is going to be the fold. So I'm just going to write fold. Okay.
Mhm.
We're going to
Oh,
write.
morning, John Cole Morgan.
Oh, morning, John.
Yeah,
I
he's
told you
here.
I'd
Hang
wave.
on, you're on a different way. You can
Oh.
wave, but you weren't on the right angle. Give him another wave. Go on.
Hi, John.
There we go.
Hiya. He's lovely, he is, isn't he?
Always a good one. He's on Monday. We're all very well, thank you, Mr. Good Morgan. We're all very good. Right.
So I'm going to label these. I'm not going to explain this too much because it's all in the pattern.
Yeah.
All right, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So where we measured the 8.5 inches, you then measure across the top from where it says A, and then you measure 8.5 inches. So, oh, I'd need the other side, don't I? Oh,
This is a creative grids ruler. So one end you will have inches and inch and a
ah,
half
see,
increments.
it's sent to confuse me, but that's all right. We can work that one out. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 8 there, so there's 8.5. So we're just going to mark it there at 8.5 inches. So we mark that as per the instructions. You will see these same letters, all right?
Okay.
So now we have to just measure down 1.5 inches, and this is because if you have a straight line on a skirt, that does not work because none of our tummies are flat. It's like the world's not flat, it's round.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
My stomach is like the world.
It is.
In so many ways.
It feels like the world sometimes, I can tell you. Right, so we always measure down 1.5 inches down there. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do now, from that point there, C, to A, we can then draw a curve, okay?
Now, if you have any kind of curvy type device,
you can use a tailor's curve,
okay,
or you can just do a fairly rough one because it's gonna as long as your lines don't go all the way up there like that. So,
okay, all right.
what
I
I
do have a
tend to
tailor's curve
do
if you want one.
is just draw it round like that until it meets in the middle, and that's fine. Okay. So then what you do then is then you have where you, because obviously if that's curved round there, if you imagine the fabric is sort of cut like that on the side. So if you have a straight hem, that's not going to exactly work. It needs to curve round at the same sort of angle as your waist.
Okay.
So then we're going to go up by 2 inches. Which is there.
Ah, Alison's just ordered the Joan pattern for Joni. Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, I'm really, really pleased. Thank you. Thank you. Remember the photographs. I'm really excited now to see these photographs. So what you then need to do, from this mark there where you've gone up by 2 inches, you then need also to draw a curve round until it meets the straight line.
Right.
Okay, so it just gradually curves it round. Obviously, I've done this a very long time. So you, as Natasha said, you may need the help of a tailor's rule, and it's sort of shaped a little bit like this with a curve round the outside, and you can use that curve.
So Lo says she's got a bigger waist. She's going to need a bigger curve. She said,
Yep.
are you going to need bigger paper? Well, you can always sellotape paper together.
Yes, you can.
That's easy.
Yes, you can.
But the thing is, go for a fabric that's a 56-inch wide rather than. So what is the cut-off point for needing to go from a 44-inch fabric up to a 56?
You have up to a 32-inch, 32.5-inch waist.
Right.
You can use the 44 to 48-inch fabric.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Up to 45-inch waist. Then you can have, and you can do a maximum 26-inch length. So that's for the wider fabric. Okay, so
right, so that's a 56-inch upwards of fabric.
That's correct.
So
if you have got a bigger waist than that, what I would do is I would cut that out of a toile, out of some calico, first of all, to get the size of your pieces, and then find your fabric really.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and that's the best thing to do.
Okay, so
All
behind
right.
you we've got, for anyone that is a 32.5-inch or larger, we've got all of those fabrics on the back, all of the lovely organic cottons.
Yeah.
We've got all the super wide fabrics, and we've also got that lovely cotton chambray on the top. So out of the sort of denim chambray on the very top one there. Can you just lift that? Yeah, that one. Gorgeous.
It's a bit like a sort of a thinner denim.
Yeah,
isn't
yeah, it's
it?
a chambray.
That's what it looks like. Yeah,
That's
and
exactly
really
what
nice.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we've got our curves. Okay, so now we're going to join up. We're going to join up, this is going to be where your skirt will actually come out as the A. So we're going to. Oh. All right, so that's basically your skirt pattern. You can see that, can't you now?
What? That's it?
That's it.
But that's insanely easy.
That's exactly, yeah. That's what makes it a fabulous skirt.
Wow.
All right?
Yeah.
So, that's what makes
this.
it a really easy beginner pattern for anybody.
Fabulous.
So, basically what we do now is obviously we've got to cut this out as our pattern. Remember, always mark where the fold is.
Yes.
Just to remind yourself that when you've got the fabric, you know to put that down the fold.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll have to put a seam in, and then you won't have enough fabric because the seam will take up the some of the fabric. So I'm just going to cut this along now because you'll need 2 of these pieces, back and front.
So there's no difference between the back and the front?
No. As you can see on what's she called?
Beryl.
Beryl.
Although I quite
So
like
you
the
can
idea
see
of
on
calling
Beryl
them
the
Myrtle.
skirt is actually quite level.
Well, we would if we could. Ah, yeah.
It's quite level. And it's just the
Fabulous.
front and back pieces.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to cut this out. And then I'll show you how to cut out the waistband. Because some of you might think, well, that's not 22 inches long. No, it's not, because we haven't yet got the waistband on. So you have to add the inches on for the waistband.
Okay. Got it. Excellent.
And quite often, in my line of business as well, sometimes I'm asked to make a completely new back for a wedding dress.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which does cause a few gasps.
Right.
But basically what I do
And that's
is
actually
a
a thing you can do.
Yeah. Not everybody can do it, but for instance, if somebody wanted it like a lace back put onto the dress, so obviously you have to add zips and buttons and all sorts of things. Yeah, it can be quite complicated. But basically what I do is I will actually lay a piece of paper across the back of my customer, and I would just draw a rough line where her body shape is, where it meets the shoulders, and so I know where to cut the fabric.
Got it. Yeah.
And I can make a back from that.
That's
so
very clever.
That's a very similar situation to here.
That's very clever. Very clever.
And of course, you know, these beautiful fabrics. I mean, how lovely are they? You know, to and the good thing is, people will say to you, "Where did you get that skirt?"
Yeah.
And I made it myself, and I made the pattern myself as
Yeah.
well.
Did it
What
all.
pattern was that? Oh, there was no pattern. I made it.
Amazing.
So there we have the skirt pattern. That is your basic skirt pattern. Okay. So now we're going to come on to the waistband. because I think we might as well just cut out both
Get it all done.
as we are. Just get it
and then
all
we're
done.
done, aren't we?
Okay. So now for the waist pattern, you again measure on the fold of the fabric. So when you're drawing out your pattern piece, make sure you mark it as the fold for the same reason.
And
Okay.
maybe write fold on the inside of the pattern, not as I tend to do on the outside, and then cut it. And yeah, no, you've done it. You've managed
I've
to
done
do
that as well. I've done that as well, Natasha.
And label it on the bit you've just thrown away.
Yeah, I've done that as well.
We've got all the tricks, haven't
Yeah,
we?
we have. Do you see what I mean? You see, we all do these silly things, but
we do.
But I'm sure there was nobody watching when Natasha did it, so who knows?
Oh, I don't know. The dog gave me a look. What can I say?
The dog gave her a look. So what we do, we need to measure the length of the curved waist. So the best thing to do is to use a soft measuring tape for this.
Okay.
So you measure the length of the curved waist. So if you put your tape measure to there, so that's going to be 8 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we're cutting it on the fold as well, so this is half.
Mm-hmm.
Plus you add an inch.
Okay, so 9 3/4.
So we need to make that 9 3/4, right? Has everybody followed where I've come? Does anybody want me to repeat anything?
No, I think we're good.
So that's 9 3/4. So we will draw 9 3/4, which is there. And we also need to do 4 inches down, okay?
Okay.
One, 2, 3, 4. I always put a little marker where I'm drawing down to because it's so easy just to forget. Oh, hold on. Oh, that is right, isn't it? Oh, I slipped. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. There's your 4 inches. So we just need to pull that across. So you've got your 9 3/4. Hold on, E. Oh, because you've got an extra 1/2 inch on the end.
So if you spin your rule around, the white marks, spin it 180 degrees round. So the white marks
that's
give you
the inch.
inches.
Yeah, gotcha.
And the black marks are 1.5 inches.
Got you.
It's a very clever way that creative grids work. But if you're not used to it, it will throw you.
So we've still got that 1/2 inch. So we need, let me just make sure I've got this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
The joy of using other people's stuff, isn't it?
There we go. Do you see what I mean? You see, we all make mistakes. So,
but if you're working with your own equipment,
yeah,
you know, it's easier,
and then you're
isn't
used to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I've got it at last.
Yay!
Right, so there we go. So that's going to be your waist pattern.
I've got a tiny waist. Look at that.
Look at that. But it's ×4, Natasha.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
that's fine.
we're going to write fold on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically you do 4 inches down because what we want is we want a 2-inch waistband.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
Alright.
2-inch waist.
So 2-inch waistband, so
Yeah.
we're going to fold that over.
Perfect.
Okay,
got
so
it.
this
And
is
then
going to
it's
be on the fold.
double-sided, and then it's, you know, it's then acting, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a very clever way. We like this.
And also being a straight waistband, if you notice where there's always meaning behind what goes on, if you notice on there we've got a curved waist and we've got a straight waistband. So what that has effect of doing, when you fit the waistband on a curved waist, it actually lifts the skirt up to fit the waistband, and that's what makes it slightly circular.
Okay. Oh, clever. Yeah, you see, it's a good job you made this pattern because you know what you're talking about. Actually, that wouldn't have even occurred to me.
Well, it's based really on very basic principles.
Yeah, but they're basic for you.
But you know, I just want to get the world sewing.
And of course, this is something that you can do in so many different fabrics. It's going to look so very
Oh
different.
yeah. The only thing I would say is don't have it too thick, the fabric. So if you're going to have like almost sort of like a thick corduroy, for instance, that could put your measurements out because it's going to be tighter because the fabric's going to be tighter.
Right. Do you want to have a look at that chambray behind you? Because it's quite a nice weight one.
Let's just have a little look.
I think you're going to like it.
Yeah, that would be absolutely fine.
Yeah. Now you said, didn't you, about using like a red thread or something just to make it look really...
If you feel adventurous, okay, and this is what this is all about basically, is that you start off with a very basic pattern, you know, that you can end up with a skirt like this. Now, you could, if you made it out of the chambray, immediately in my head I thought, oh, wouldn't red would look nice with that? So what could I do in red?
Nice.
So you could still do your zip closure, but what you could do is I don't want to confuse people, that's the thing. It's just basically a strip of fabric that you turn round and double. You could put that down the front and then you could put some buttons going down the front so it looks like a button-up front skirt.
But of course it's not.
No.
Amazing.
And then you can overstitch it with red thread, for instance. Very pretty. So we've got our two pieces now. All right, so we're now ready to cut our fabric.
Yay!
So how long have we been patterning?
It is 10 to 11.
10 to 11, so it's nearly an hour.
Yeah, but to be fair, I had a good old chin wag to start off with.
True, she took up my time.
I did, I'm sorry about that. Sorry, not sorry.
No,
I do
sorry,
like
not
a good
sorry,
old
no.
chat.
That's what I keep saying now. Sorry, not sorry. My daughter says to me, Mum, you say that all the time.
We've all got our little intricacies.
Yeah, of course we do.
Yeah.
It's little personality traits, I prefer to call them.
Absolutely. Oh, Karen says a maxi skirt would be nice in a lightweight wafty fabric.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I think a maxi skirt in that chambray would be lovely, and also the backing fabrics.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to make some palazzo pants out of some of the Cafe ones for sure.
I mean,
just bear in mind those prices have got to go up, and you've got 15% off today on top of the normal price. But like I say, from the manufacturers we have and our suppliers, we have just had notification that the price has gone up significantly.
Which way does this pattern go, Natasha? Is it with those pointing upwards or downwards?
Upwards.
Would you say? You see what I mean? You see, because it's directional, I want to make sure that I've got the fabric
so they
going the right way.
So they're going out like that.
Yep.
With the sort of thistly looking bit at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and if you're just starting off sewing, have the fold of the fabric on the same side that you've actually drawn your pattern out on. I mean, it is possible if you've got it over the other way, then you put it, but sometimes it can confuse people. So just try and keep it as simple as you possibly can.
Sure.
And if you've reached the end, just make sure, because sometimes where fabrics are cut, sometimes they can be slightly different. So I would just come slightly away from the edge. So we're just going to pin this on. It's exciting, isn't it? There we
Pinning it
go.
onto the fold, and your seam allowance is already in there.
The seam allowance is already in there, so you've got...
Got bent pin.
See,
Very
if you
bent
find
pin.
a bent pin in your pin cushion, you should really throw it out.
I have a little sharps box on the side, so just put it to one
Yeah,
side. And
I
we'll whack
will.
it
I'll
in
throw
there
them out
for
when
you.
I come back. Right, there we go. So just put enough pins in there that you feel comfortable, that you're not going to disturb the fabric as you cut it.
Okay, yeah.
And try and keep it as flat as you possibly can.
Okay. That's where the bent trimmer scissors that we've got for you on the bench today, they're really lovely because up here on the...
Oh,
yeah.
these up here. Ah.
Yeah, because of the bent angle of them.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you don't have to lift the fabric as much.
Might have to invest in some. There we go. Yeah, no, I'm working on a wedding dress at the moment, just as I'm pinning this, where the dress, I've done about 3 of these in the last month, but basically the dress is absolutely huge. It's full of lace, so it needs to be taken in here.
Wow.
Because if you take in a dress just on the sides, they'll end up with boobies round under their armpits, so that doesn't look, it's not a very good look. So you have to take the dress in all the way round, and basically I have to peel the lace off.
Ooh.
I then have to create a seam down the middle.
Crikey.
And then I replace the lace back and overlap it in such a way that it's not overlapped, but it just looks as though nothing's happened to the dress.
Yeah, that's actual magic.
Yeah, it is. So that's what I've got in my workroom at the moment.
I wouldn't even know where to start. I mean, that's just...
Well,
that's just sinking in. Like, I don't know.
Well, before Gary had his stroke, of course, he used to work with me. You know, we used to have a joint business.
Yeah.
And some of the alterators he used to just look. He said, "Rachel," he said, "I hope you know what you're doing."
Always the vote of confidence.
Because I had this
yes.
poor forlorn dress just literally in pieces on the floor.
Ooh,
That's how they were sometimes, in
gosh.
pieces.
And would these be dresses that had been heirlooms that people wanted to resize?
No, these are brand new wedding dresses. So they've bought off the peg.
Right.
And obviously all of us are all different shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
So, you know, so some ladies can be a bigger bust.
Yeah.
And smaller around
Yeah.
here, or they can be a very small bust, so they have to buy a bigger size.
Yeah.
So you have to somehow alter it so that it just looks as though it was, you know,
That's how it was
meant to be.
Yeah.
So in the end, they end up with a dress that was more or less been made for them. So I'm just going to cut this first piece out. Oh, exciting!
Lo says, "Rachel, have you not thought about doing what we would do, Velcro and Bonderweb?" I think she's a bit beyond Velcro and Bonderweb. That's how we put stuff back together.
Yeah.
A bit like they do at the fancy dress shop, so that one size fits everyone.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think I'd get away with that with a wedding dress somehow.
Oh, some people are so pernickety.
They're very fussy nowadays.
Elizabeth says, "Have you still not bought a tin of Bickies for your sharps? Ferrero Rocher come in tins occasionally as well." I mean, if you're going to get a tin of Ferrero Rocher, now is the season, I would suggest.
It might be a good idea to buy some Ferrero Rochers then, really.
Rude not to, would be my suggestion there.
Now you will notice that I'm actually cutting the fabric with the right side facing up. With this particular pattern, there's no real right or wrong way. You can either cut it that way, or you can put it inside out and have what they call right side facing.
Right, okay.
But it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to put that in your bits and bobs drawer,
Pam
Natasha.
says that she loves altering bridal gowns. So much satisfaction seeing a happy bride. You're a clever bunch, aren't you, out there?
It really is satisfying. And when you see a bride come in, sorry, what was that lady's name?
Pam.
Pam. And as Pam probably knows, when you come in and you see this poor girl that's in this dress that just doesn't fit anywhere, but you know what you have to do to that dress, and you know it's going to fit fabulously. I can't wait for the brides to come back in because I know what they're going to look like after I've finished it.
It's a big leap of faith, you know, to
and
hand
you've
your
got
dress over to someone that, you know, is your dream dress for your dream day.
Yeah, and I'm sure Pam is exactly the same. You're there for your bride, and that's it, full stop. So I'm just going to pin this on again, which is our second piece.
Excellent.
And just make sure it's right up to the fold. I find dressmaking very, very therapeutic, and especially with all this lockdown, and you know, I hope everybody's all right out there, by the way, because I know we're not out the woods quite yet, but you know, sewing for me, when we were all locked down, and of course that was when Gary had his stroke, which was a double whammy, and you know, and sewing was my retreat. You know, when I used to go and see Gary in the hospital every night, of course you only had half an hour.
Yeah, which means you've got a lot of day.
It's very upsetting, yeah. So how I did it was I just put aside patterns and kits and all sorts of things that that I set myself to do before Gary came home.
Yeah. Lo says, going to get a coffee, just realised I'm in a weird mood. Who could tell? Lo, no, none of us could tell. Lo, you're all right.
Who's in a weird mood?
Lo.
Oh. Is that Lou Reed?
Lo, yeah, Lo Reed, yeah.
Is that the O&P silver?
Yeah.
I thought it was. I've seen so many of those designs and I really want one. I know, I saw your ring.
And matching bracelet.
Really?
Yeah, a little treat to myself. Oh, here we go. Elizabeth says, Rachel kindly advised me what shape skirt to make to suit the top I had made. She was very right. Oh, what it must be like to be very right.
What, with my customers?
With Elizabeth. You helped Elizabeth.
Did I?
Apparently so.
Was Elizabeth one of my customers then?
Elizabeth Krangle.
Oh, Elizabeth, she lives in America, doesn't she?
No, she
Is
lives
she
in
American?
No.
Oh, she must have watched me one day, maybe.
I think possibly.
Oh
so.
no, that's it. She is right. I've just remembered now.
Yeah, there
yes,
you
you're
go.
right, Elizabeth. She asked me a question.
Yes.
So I advised her on it. That's right. Sorry.
It's one of those things, isn't it? You know, you just then life happens.
I know.
Yeah. So Margaret says, my first foray into it's quite a long one, this one. My first foray into dressmaking and first time using an electric sewing machine was in school domestic science class. An A-line skirt with centre back zip. I'd found a remnant of grey flannel, so it became my school skirt.
Oh,
I too finished my skirt in a week, but the teacher let me have a rummage in the dress patterns that would have been for O-grade projects. I made one dress using fabric from the school stock, had to pay for it of course, and then my great aunt Nellie gave me a length from her stash. A lovely soft cotton in a proper red with ditzy flowers. And we remember these things.
Yeah, we do.
These are the things.
Yeah.
I remember the first, in my sort of sewing class at school, we had to make a round-ended sports bag, and I did it in a blue paisley, and I've loved paisleys ever since.
Oh.
And we had to put zips in that as well. And I just remember the teacher telling us how difficult zips were, and I think that's why in my head I always think that zips are difficult, because we were told at school how difficult they were.
Yeah, and I think it sticks in your head.
Yeah.
And you think, oh no, I better not have a zip.
John feels like he's watching the sewing bee. Well, Rachel, finish it! Loving it.
Is that John Cole Morgan?
Yeah, it's the Cole Morgan.
Yeah.
JCM, as we lovingly call him. It's JCM.
I love John. He when Gary was very ill, and he was in hospital, John picked up on, you know, obviously the way that things were.
Yeah.
And he took me out for lunch.
He's a good egg.
He
is our
drove all the
John.
way to Wootton Bassett, which is just outside of where I live, and took me for lunch, didn't you, John? And we
He's a
had
good-
some donuts.
He's a good egg. Oh yeah, well yeah, no, he does love a donut.
The donut van was outside. Right, so that's your 2 pieces of skirt, okay? So
Yep.
that's all that done. So how quick is that?
Yep, easy.
So now we're going to come on to the waistband. Oh, here's my piece of waistband.
Oh, I think it's down here on the floor.
Oh, I've wafted it, I think. Oh, lovely. Thank you, Natasha. So again, you find a fold of your fabric, and you will find, you know, quite a little bit of fabric left, really. But many people might think, oh yeah, well, I could make a longer skirt. You might not be able to, because it would mean that your line down to the end is going to be a lot slimmer. So
Right.
unless you've got extremely slim hips, that's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
All right.
It's
So-
not going to work. Not for me. No, 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 no.
So,
I do
you
not
know,
tick that
just a
box.
word of warning. So it might seem as though you've got a load of fabric, but, you know, you could make a covered bag with it, couldn't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And cutting it on the fold always means that you've got it going straight, you know, so there's no measuring. This is the nice thing, because with a pattern, those of you who've made garments with patterns, you've got the arrows going down showing the line of the fabric, and then you've got to use your measuring tape to measure to the end so that you
Yeah.
make sure you've got it completely
Yeah,
straight.
all of that.
With this, where it's all on the fold, you've automatically got it straight
Perfect.
because the fold is straight.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And just make sure that that is the case when, you know, the fabric comes, because the fabric doesn't always come off the bolt straight.
No.
So just
And
make sure you
what I-
line the selvages up and press your fabric.
Absolutely, which
Yeah.
I've done this morning.
Of course you-
Also, a good tip is when you've got your fabric, certain fabrics could do with having a little bit of a rinse through before you use it,
Yeah.
because some fabrics can shrink a little bit. So it's always best to do that.
Yeah, so pre-washing your fabric's always good.
I
mean,
would.
we were talking, so this most quilting mate cottons will shrink 5 or 6%. The Tilda fabrics 3 to 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And this is it. You see, as quilters, we don't really bother pre-washing,
No.
but it is just something to think about, isn't it?
And really, we want, you know, we want to be able to wear our garments several times, don't we?
Yeah.
And not just the once, and then have to dress our Barbie dolls in it the next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Or have to dye
Because
it
they've
to
shrunk
get back
so
into
much.
it,
Yeah. Right, that's our waistband.
Fabulous.
So now there's just one other piece that we need to cut from the same piece as the waistband, which is our interfacing.
Right. Okay.
All right. So basically just lay it on the top.
Do you have to fold it in half?
Yeah, you do. What I was going to say was what you can do, and I think I did it this way round, was to open it up and lay it face down on here, then cut it out, then press it, and it's already pressed on the side,
Oh, perfect. There we
if
go.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you use, with the interfacing, as people that have sewn before will know, there's sort of like a knobbly side. It feels slightly rough, and there's a smooth side. And the knobbly side is this is the side that when it heats up, it adheres to the fabric.
Because the knobbly bits
It
are
melts.
the glue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so that's what I'm going to do. It just says in my instructions, just cut the same length out of interfacing, which is strictly true, but I would again recommend that maybe you just open it out, and it just does make things a little bit easier.
Sure.
So I'm just going to place this face down like that.
And we should have 2 of these cut, but with... Do we cut 2 of these?
No, you just have one.
For the waistband?
Yeah, for the waistband.
Oh.
All right. Hang on a minute, let me just... Oh, you cut 2.
Yeah.
Thank
My waist
you.
is looking very tiny, more thigh-sized right
Do you
now.
see? Thank goodness Natasha's here. You see, I think I might have had tinselitis then.
I've got
So,
something.
yeah.
Got something going on.
Right, where's that fabric that I've just thrown away? Natasha's quite right that there is 2 pieces. Of course there is, because it's only half the width. So let's cut out the other side, because you only need to interface one side.
Right.
I think that's probably what I was thinking of.
So you just interface the front half, do you?
Yeah, and then because the other side you need to fold back, which I'll show you in a minute, to fit the top of the skirt.
Right.
I will need a zipper foot actually. I don't think there's one in here. I didn't see one.
Is there one in the front hiddeny bit?
Yeah, I've just had a look in there and it doesn't look like a zipper foot. But what I can do, just to save a little bit of time maybe, is just to tack it in so that you can see.
Sure.
But with the zipper foot, what it does, it looks like a bit of a paddle.
Yeah.
I have actually got a picture of it on here, I think. So that you can see.
I'll pop you overhead so you can show everybody that, and I'll come and have a little... There you go. Just pop it down there. There we are.
So you can see.
I don't know if Jane has got the... I think Jane's got the feet in her room for this machine. It's in the other room. That's annoying.
But what I'll do is I'll tack it in there, and if I
Okay.
show you the zipper foot and what it actually does, I don't know if you can see close.
We
up
can
to
go
where I've
even
got
closer.
it.
If you put it in front of the sewing machine,
Yep.
then I can get that. There you go.
So if you have a look at the foot where I've got it there, just by the pins, so you can see with that foot, it's got like a little paddle on the front, and you can put you can put the machine either side of the foot. So wherever your zipper is,
Yeah.
you can stitch either side of it. Okay, and you'll find a little notch. That's where the needle goes in and out.
Perfect.
So what that means is that you can stitch really, really close to the zip and give it a really nice finish.
Excellent.
So we just pop that back in there. So let's just cut out this extra piece. That I was going to cut out always.
Always, always. We all knew that. We all knew that on the fold as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
all
was
of
just
that.
what I was doing. I was just making sure that people guessed and questioned me over what I did, which you did, Natasha.
Well, you know, yeah.
You know,
Paying attention,
you
always.
see.
Oh, Gemma thinks she may have located some that would work.
Ah.
You never know. That's for the NX, but I think they'll work on the DX. Perfect. Thank you, my love. Let's have a little look.
Thank you, Gemma.
Well, I think because Jane uses the DX, so I think they'll be situated in her room somewhere. Look, there you go. There's a nice zipper clip there. Does the job.
Wonderful. So you can see there.
Oh, well, you will when
I put on the overhead camera.
No, oh no, onto the machine.
Onto the
close
machine.
up. There you go.
So I'll hold it at the top. So you can see that little paddle. You can see the split down the middle, so you can put your machine, because obviously you've got to take this foot off, and then you clamp it down either side, whichever side your zip is on, and then you can see some little notches there where my fingernail is, and that's where the needle goes in and out. Okay, so I will be using that once we start putting the zip in. Gemma's so good, isn't she?
Oh, do you know what I think? I'll keep
Straight
her.
on it.
Yeah, yeah. She knows what she's up to.
Right, so we're going to have one of our pieces, right? So we need to join these together. All right, so make one whole waistband.
Okay.
I'm just trying to follow the instructions so that people can follow me where I'm going with it.
Oh, Lo's just had her elf pattern delivered by good old Popo Pat, as she likes to call him.
Postman Pat, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but she just calls him Popo Pat.
I used to love Postman Pat.
I mean, to be fair, I think the current Postman Pat does possibly mess with the old budgets a little bit, given that it takes him a helicopter and a ship and a goodness knows what else for one parcel.
You just cannot beat, can you, the original?
I love the original. Yeah, 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 absolutely. And she's away. Look at that. So this is on a 1/2 inch seam allowance, or is it 1/4 of an inch?
Well, this is 1/2 an inch. No, on the waistband it's 1/4 of an inch.
But this is the waistband.
Yeah, this is the waistband. Let me explain.
So when it comes down to attaching it, not sewing the two pieces together.
Got it. So that's the same as the skirt. So.
Right. Yeah, Lo's just said, how long did my ring take to arrive first class recorded? It took 15 days, Lo. 15 days. I looked at the sign for bit. Yeah, poor Lo was busy trying to make me another one because we'd given up on it ever arriving. But I think that's just they're super busy, aren't they? But we get it all the time, and everyone thinks it's our tardiness. And our post office is so overrun at the moment that we went back the other day, and our post was still sitting there from 2 days. It just sat in the office for 2 days, and I hit the roof. Absolutely hit the roof.
Well, it's not funny, is it?
No.
Don't say that to Gary, because he bursts out laughing when I say it's not funny. It's his thing.
I think the girls have got him working hard still.
Yeah,
bless
bless
him.
him.
To good use.
Well, people have been following Gary's story as well. So for him to be in a position where he can actually help box things up, I mean, it's amazing, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all like to feel useful, don't we? You know, at whatever stage of life we're at.
Well, the days, you know, especially with a stroke as well, the days, you know, he does have some days where he thinks he hasn't progressed very far.
Yeah.
But luckily, when he was in hospital, I made a diary. And in that diary, I put exactly what he was actually doing.
Yeah. That was very forward thinking of you, Rachel.
It was actually at the time.
Yeah. I think I would have been just trying to hold my life together, let alone writing diaries.
I mean, it was quite a thing to hold together as well, really. Yeah. But, you know, and when he looks through the diary now, he says, oh my goodness, you know, and I put things like, Gary actually took a step today. And, you know, and to do that after you've had a stroke is actually quite
huge.
Big. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
but that was after about 7 weeks after his stroke.
Gosh. We, growing up, one of my friends, he was a champion mountain biker. and he had a horrendous car crash
Oh.
and ended up in a coma for a year. And anyone that went to visit him, I used to go every Thursday when I should have been doing general studies, but like snip out of that, go and see Mark. So I always used to write in his diary, and so he didn't lose a year.
Yeah.
When he woke up and he learnt to read again,
Yeah.
he didn't lose that year.
Yeah.
He knew who
What had gone on,
who
and
had come, who had cared, who
Yeah.
had been there for him throughout. I think it's really, and again, you know, just gosh, at a time like that, to have the forethought to actually do that.
Yeah. And we've got, because we had to buy a new car, so because Gary and I had a car each,
Yeah.
and so he had a Kia Sportage and I had a little Kia Picanto. They were new cars, so of course I couldn't drive his car. I can't drive big cars at all. I just can't do it. So when he'd had his stroke, I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do with his car parked outside? And I was frightened it was just going to dilapidate.
Yeah.
So because I only bought mine in the March before we locked down.
Yeah, it all happens, doesn't it?
And so anyway, I went back into the sales place and told him what had happened, and he was fantastic. I know car salesmen have a bad name, but this chap was brilliant, and he took on board what I was saying to him. Obviously, I broke down a little bit. You can't help it.
I think it always helps. If you can weep in the middle of a car sales place, then
you've
that
got
helps.
them then.
Yeah.
You've got them.
I've done that before when
Yeah.
they haven't had and you know, I remember having a job interview and my car breaking down and them not having any kind of,
I don't know what I'm doing. So I mean, I wasn't quite like that, but obviously I did have, have my moment. Anyway, he suggested a car for us that would fit a wheelchair in, and so I sort of, Gary said, well, just get what you can. And this salesman, getting back to what we were talking about, he actually took a video of this car when after I'd ordered it.
Yeah.
When it came in, he took a video and said on the video, all right, Gary, mate, here, you've been not very well. Here's a video of your new car. Hope you enjoy it. And it was a video all around the car, so I could actually take it into hospital with him.
People can be very, very kind.
Honestly.
They really can be.
And we got his own personalised number plate because he was turned 60 in hospital.
Yeah.
So I thought, what do I buy him?
Yeah.
Well, if he's in hospital and he can't drive, so I thought, I know, might be a new car and only I can drive, but I'll get him a number plate. So I don't know if I'm meant to say my number plate over the thing.
I possibly wouldn't.
No, but it had the number 60 in it anyway, and it had a reference to Gary.
Excellent.
In there. So, and he sat down with me literally for an hour whilst we chose one of these number plates that befitted what I wanted to do.
Yes.
So we had a surprise party for Gary for his birthday because we were all allowed to meet outside.
Yes.
And we
yes,
had
yes.
about
I
8
remember,
people,
yeah.
like family and things. And I had the car parked there with his personalised number plate on.
How long did it take for him to twig?
It didn't straight away because I think he didn't, because he thought we were just going to go outside and I was just going to push him around the car park.
Yeah.
Just for a bit of fresh air.
Yeah. Maybe
So
a
of course
piece of
when we
cake while
got
you're out there.
outside and I said, here's the car, and he went, oh, that's good. I thought, number plate. And so I said, look at the number plate, Gary. Oh my God, he said, oh yes. It was really good. Yeah.
Oh.
Bless him. So I'm just going to iron this interfacing. Okay, so I've just cut exactly the same. And what I would always recommend as well is that when you put interfacing on, that you don't do this with it. You just hold it until the glue sticks and then
Lo's
move on
just
to somewhere
found
else.
somewhere. Actually, Lo, that's a really good price. I paid a good 20 quid more than that for mine. She said, anyone want an iron like mine? This one here. Appliances Direct. She's found it for $64.97.
What, this one here?
Yeah, and I've paid over 80 for mine.
Crikey, I pay nearly 200 for mine.
Yeah.
And that's a steamed generator.
Yeah.
But I'm beginning to think it might not be the right thing to have, really, because it keeps breaking down and spitting and spotting everywhere, and
Well,
it's
you
not a
can't
good
have that on
idea.
someone's dress, can you?
Well, no.
Morning,
Oh, no.
Heidi. Morning, Basil. Morning, Kerry.
Morning.
Morning. So just hold it over and
Just
it will...
I would just
It's
hold
about
it over.
7 seconds, isn't it, in one
Yeah.
spot? It's one of those things.
And then you just move it into another spot, because what you tend to find is as the glue is sticking, it can stretch in underneath and cause a bit
Yes.
of a bubble. There we go. So I'm just going to take the pins out, and that just makes it just nice and firm enough just to fold over. So we've got our pattern pieces prepared, and now I'm going to show you a simple way to put the zip in.
Okay. Because this is the bit that gets people...
Yeah, and people just get too nervous.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and when you've got a nice waistband on a skirt, instead of elastic, it just tells a different story, really. It puts it up a notch or two. So, 2 pattern pieces. Oh. Sorry, this is boring, taking the pins out.
No, that's right. It's got to be done, isn't it?
But it's a job that has to be done.
I've I always use a magnetic pin cushion, because then I can just rip them out and then just hover my pin cushion over it and just pluck everything up. And for me,
I probably should invest in one of those, really.
it just makes a little difference rather than having to... I don't know, it's my little treat to myself.
Stops them from falling all over the floor.
Yeah. Although, having said that, well, and also because my pin cushion at home, Malcolm, my cat, he likes to pull them out, and I'm convinced he's going to eat one. No,
Well, he pulls it out the fabric.
No, he pulls it out of the pin cushion.
No.
He sits there. Yeah, he sits there pulling all of the pins out of the pin cushion. Yeah, but he can't do it on a magnetic one.
Mind you, Lily, yesterday I had a little, you know, the pins in certain make come in like a little plastic tray thing. She went along the ground like that to find my pins, and she was just trying to pull it over. What?
Pin down. Oh, I don't know.
It must be something to do with pins.
Yeah.
Right, so
we have revealed our pattern pieces.
We have
Lovely.
revealed our pattern pieces. Now this is a very, very simple way of putting a zip in.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do...
start somewhere, haven't we, Rachel?
Yeah, you
That's
do.
The thing. You've got to start somewhere.
And I'm really sort of voicing really for people that maybe haven't sewn an awful lot.
Yeah.
Just to take that angst out. So I'm not going to join two. In the pattern, it tells you to join both the pieces together and then leave a gap for the 7-inch zip. That's absolutely fine. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
However, for those people that haven't sewn an awful lot, it can become a little bit of a, you know, a bit scary. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pin together just 2 of these side pieces.
Okay. Well, Elizabeth says, Natasha, just a thought. I never used cutting rulers and mats until I watched Jenny Raymond. I use it all the time for dressmaking and shirts, etc. I wonder if Rachel may find it of benefit to have a little lesson. Well, this is it. You know, with rulers and the cutting mats and everything else, it's what you're used to, isn't it?
See, I've never used a cutting mat, and when I have tried to use one, I've nearly cut my finger off.
Yeah.
So, but it's like you say, practice makes perfect.
But
so,
also, if it's not what you're used to.
Yeah. And you know, I've just been so busy. I just have to go back to using what I feel comfortable using. But I agree with that lady. You know, it is a lesson that maybe I can, you know, concentrate on.
The thing is, with dressmaking, it's very different tools to quilting.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't do the things that you do, and quilting requires different things. But if there is a crossover, which there is quite a few times. Yeah, absolutely. You see, so you pin lengthwise, you pin along
it's the way I've always done it.
Everyone pins a bit differently, don't they? Again, it's pin gate.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my 1/2 inch seam, but I'm going to use the biggest stitch that I can.
So it's a basting stitch. We're going
It's
to
a
elongate
basting
the
stitch to begin
right.
with.
Okay.
All right, now there's meaning behind my madness, okay?
Is this going to be an invisible zip? Ish.
Well, I have got a zip. I have got an invisible zip. I've got an ordinary zip, which is what I was showing in my pattern.
Yeah, great.
But you can put an invisible zip in, obviously, which needs an invisible zipper foot.
We don't have one of those.
So,
Lo would like to know at the same time if she could just come and teach everyone how to drink lots of gin and not fall over. I mean,
I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm in. How
Yeah.
do I book? How much?
We'll find out.
Yeah. When? Which day of the week? Right, so I'm not going to use my zipper foot yet. That's just going to be put to one side because I'm going to alter my stitch length to 5, which is a big stitch
You know how
length.
to do that on that machine. Are you all right with it?
Is that, maybe I'll go down to 4.
No, 5 is good.
Yep.
Yep.
So use a big stitch because after you've placed your zip, how I'm going to instruct you how to do it, you're going to be unbasting the stitches to reveal the zip.
So you want that ease to be able to unpick. Perfect.
And the reason I've got it all the way down, once you've got your zip in, you can then go back in and then stitch that down with a normal stitch.
Perfect.
There, all right, it just makes it a bit quicker.
And this is your 1/2 inch.
This is my
seam.
1/2 inch seam.
Perfect.
And as with most garments, you back stitch as well, just to sort of make sure it doesn't.
Even with the basting one.
Well, I would just to hold it because a zip.
It's a long stitch as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and because otherwise, sometimes what can happen is when you've put your zip in, it starts to come undone at the top.
Yeah.
And it makes it a bit tricky.
Do you sew standing up at home?
No, do you know? You must have read my mind. Honestly, I was just going to say I don't normally stand up and sew.
Yeah.
No, I have to sit down.
I am
with my slippers on. I can't sew
really?
without my slippers on.
Amazing.
But they have to be slippers with slightly sort of stiffer. So I have the Moshulu slippers. I don't know if you've ever seen them.
They're posh ones, they are.
Oh, I love my Moshulu slippers. But these are sort of more like little ballerina type slippers.
Of course they are. Julia says, I avoid pins, they always draw blood. And Elizabeth says, bitey tools, like Captain Small's bitey claws. So my daughter says that Mortimer, Naughty Morty, our kitten, has bitey paws. And that's because, and that's kind of stuck.
Is that because he scratches?
Yeah. Bitey paws.
I must admit, Lily and Bobbin, because we've got 2 little kittens
I've
called Lily and
seen them,
Bobbin.
lovely.
And Bobbin's a little monkey. They're
There's
2
always
little
one.
girls. And they're about July, August, September, October, November, December. So yeah, there are 4 months now.
Oh.
And actually they were born. You remember I was on here last time on the 30th of July?
Yes.
That's when they were born.
Ah.
Because of course I had to have my phone off.
Yes.
And when I switched the phone off, my daughter was saying, Mum, Coco's had her kittens.
Oh.
She was,
Are they family cats? They come from
yes,
family.
yes. But people were asking me what type of cat the kittens were, and they're not. Coco got out.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Whoops. Yeah. So we sew all the way down to the bottom.
We do. So all the way down to the bottom. That's it.
Perfect.
So then that's that. Okay,
Just on one side.
Just on one side for now.
For the side
So that it's easier just to put your zip in.
Right, got it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open out that seam.
Right. There go the pins.
They're the pins. That's what Lily liked.
Well, I guess it sounds good too, doesn't it? You've got the rattle of the pins.
I bet they're missing Gary actually today.
That's good company for him, actually.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I'm not going to put it all the way down because we don't need it all the way down at the moment.
Right. Okay.
This is just to show you how the oh, and also when you're actually finishing off your seams, you need to zigzag the seams, or if you've got an overlocker, then obviously overlock the seams,
Yeah.
just to neaten them down.
Well, I mean, this is going to be something you're going to wash and wear, isn't it?
Absolutely. So you've got to have it hardy inside. And not only that, when people say, where did you get your skirt from? And you lift the hem and it's all lovely and zigzagged and finished off all inside. So here we go. Move all this to one side. Do you ever get yourself in a mess?
Yep,
with
always,
sewing?
always.
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Right, so here is our zip, and as you can see, we're going to open it out in a minute to make it easier to sew in. But what we're going to do, we're going to place it at the top here,
Right.
because we're going to have the waistband with the 2 hooks.
Mm-hmm.
So we only need it just slightly below, 1/4 of an inch below there, because that's going to be used up with sewing the waistband on.
Right.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
So that's about 1/4 of an inch under. So where this central piece is, we need to line it up with the centre of the seam.
Mm-hmm.
See, I've lost my pins already.
Well, I mean, blame cat. Oh, the concentration. So
all gone
I like to
quiet,
base
yeah.
with wash away quilters tape.
Yes, you can use that as well.
And it will wash out.
Yes,
So
it will.
could you do that? 'Cause
Yes.
This is my.
If I
my
do an
problem with
invisible zip,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I tend to use wash away tape
Yeah.
behind the tape. I
Right.
mean, this is quite a nice quality cotton, so you
It's a
wouldn't.
lovely quality
yeah.
cotton, yeah.
Now, if you were using something like a slight stretch fabric,
Mm.
then you would need the washi tape behind the zip
Right.
just to strengthen it, or just a strip of interfacing.
Sure.
Sometimes I've used that as well,
Yeah.
just to strengthen it up.
Okay.
Now, we were going to use a 7-inch zip, which comes down to about, well, this is an 8-inch zip, so it comes down to about there.
Okay.
Right?
Mhm. So if you don't have the right size zip,
So
you've
if
got
you
one
don't have the
little bit
right
bigger.
size zip, basically what you can do, you go over it and over it and over it with the machine.
Yeah.
Okay, so quite a few times.
Yeah.
Just to, and then you can just snip it off underneath.
Oh, okay, perfect.
As simple as that. Which I will do. Obviously, don't sew it to the skirt.
No. And are we basting this, or are we using the zipper foot now?
We're gonna just go over the zip with an ordinary straight stitch.
Oh, at the bottom.
Yeah, just to
Right.
hold that in place. Just turn around that wrong way,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and just leave a little bit. So obviously, what you don't want to do is have your zip come off or come undone.
Wardrobe malfunctions, just not the thing, are they? Really not the thing.
It certainly isn't. Some things don't need to be on view.
It's very true.
Right, so I've just strengthened that. And then you just simply just snip the zip off, and that won't come undone.
Okay.
So now what we need to do is we need to use our zipper foot, okay?
Right. So do we trim off the bottom of that zip now?
Yep, I've just trimmed it off the
Oh, done it.
bottom.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just trimmed that off the bottom there,
Perfect.
okay? Now, if anybody's really scared of putting zips in, tack it first.
Right.
Right. So in order to change your foot, on most machines you've got like a little black button
Yes.
on behind there. So you just press it and down comes the foot.
Lovely.
So because I'm doing that side of the zip first, I want that side to be closest to my zip. If that makes sense.
Right. Okay. Yep.
So as you're stitching down, you want it to come like that down the zip.
Yeah. So decide which side you're going to use
That's
first.
right. And you'll then have to swap over the opposite side. Because another tip as well is putting zips in, you always stitch from the top down.
Right. You
Don't be tempted to
spin it
stitch
around
down the
and-
top,
yeah.
from the top to the bottom first, and then turn it round and then come back up the top, because what you'll find is the zip will adjust itself,
Right.
and then you'll end up with a
Skew
wonky zip.
Okay.
Have we got plenty of time?
Well, we're 11:40. There
Oh.
we go.
Goodness. So I'm just going to place that down there. So I'm really, really near the zip, but obviously not on the teeth.
Mhm.
Oh, keep pushing my foot in underneath the table.
Oh yeah. Sorry. It's
That's the
got-
machine
has-
foot, that is,
yeah.
not my own foot. And obviously you use a much smaller stitch this time.
Okay.
And what I do, there's a little guide really on, if I can just move that back, so you can see the side of the zipper foot.
Mhm.
There's the end of the metal piece, and I use that as a guide just to come just over the side of the zip, so you don't end up stitching over it.
Right. And you've only stitched one side of the skirt, so it can still lie nice and flat and open. So
Exactly.
you're not going to stitch through another side of it or anything like that. It's
Exactly.
all happening. It's all good.
Now, as you noticed, I undid the zip a little bit, so I could, because it's got a bit lumpy metal bit at the end.
So this has been, for anybody, because we had quite a few people join a little bit later, this has been a pattern that we've self-drafted very easily and to your size. So, you know, if you're someone whose weight fluctuates or anything like that, or, you know, maybe you're doing one of these, I don't know, diet club, or maybe you're going to boot camp or something, or maybe, you know, lockdown happened and you're just happy with what happened, then it just means that you can make anything to fit you, which is really rather nice, I think. And there is that thing, isn't there, of having something that's tailor-made to you. Makes you feel super special, I think.
I think so too. So we're
What
going to undo the
percentage
zip.
of your clothes do you reckon you make yourself now, Rachel, or is it that you're too busy doing it for everyone
To
else?
be fair, I don't make a lot,
Yeah.
because as you quite rightly said,
Too
it's
busy
like
doing
if
it
you've
for
got a
everyone else.
carpenter in the family,
Yeah.
all your furniture shop bought, because
of course.
you know, you just haven't got the time to. I mean, I have made things for myself,
Of course.
but because every year we go to a festival, the Reading Retro Festival,
Right.
and I make myself a dress every year to go to that.
Yeah.
So I do, but not very often. Not as often as I should, really.
Oh, is there a should?
No.
I don't know, I think sometimes should just puts a lot of pressure, doesn't it?
That's exactly. Well, exactly. I mean, people, you know, because they know I'm a dressmaker, they expect everything that I step out in to be something that I've made.
Yeah, no.
But
Just not gonna be-
unfortunately,
not gonna be the case.
unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. So again, I've just moved just the top of the zip. Ah, what have I done there? Oh, I've changed the stitch somehow.
What's it?
I've changed it to a zigzag.
Okay, so if you just go,
Never mind.
press number 1.
Number 1, here we go. Off we go again. Just push that zip out the way a little bit.
So it's because it's already stitched down one side, that's going to hold everything nicely, isn't it?
It is. So I'm just stitching down the other side of the zip. And because I use the guideline, the stitching should be even either side of the zip.
Right. And you didn't cross over down both sides, as you should.
I didn't what, sorry?
You didn't go down one side and then up.
No,
You just went
no.
straight down.
Yeah, I go straight down. The reason being because I come on the outside then.
Right.
And then I'll actually stitch across.
Yep.
Because then my zip doesn't move.
Got it. Got it. Got a pin in there.
Right. So now I'm just going to get my quick unpick. I have to quick unpick.
So this is
Just at the
why you did that long stitch.
I
wasn't
did,
it?
so that it's easy
Yeah,
to
yeah,
undo.
yeah. Mhm.
So once we've undone the zip to expose the zip, we can then use a smaller zip stitch size to
And do you unpick all the way down, or just where your zip finished?
just where the zip finishes.
Okay, cool.
All right. So now you can just join it back up again. You can still keep your zipper foot in if you want to.
Right.
Just turn it round so that you're exposing the seam. Like that, just move the zip out the way a little bit.
So what are we stitching now?
We are stitching down the seam below the zip, right?
So where we left off.
Where we left
Where
off.
we haven't
So
unpicked.
basically, instead of being a size 4 stitch,
Yeah.
we're actually now stitching it so that it's
Is this the actual stitch that's going to hold the whole thing together?
absolutely.
Perfect. Oh, you see, Pam says that zips have never bothered her. It's buttonholes that she dislikes. Everyone's got their thing, haven't they?
See, I quite like doing buttonholes. It's funny, isn't it?
It's just as well, though,
It's
because
just-
that is your job.
Yes. So, and then now what I would do is that I'd now open the seam further on down so it's actually open all the way down.
And then press that open all the
Press
way
that
down.
open.
Perfect. Oh, John's been away. He's come back again. He says, oh, looks like lots of progress. We've got a zip in, John. We've got a zip and a side stitch. We're doing well. I mean, that's basically half made, right? Yeah.
Yes, it is. So now we've got the zip in and we've stitched the main...
Beautiful fabric.
Yeah. We can then undo
Oh, and then reveal the
and
zip.
then it will reveal the zip.
Clever stuff.
You
And
might
this
have,
is why you need the pattern, just to remind you of all of these things.
yeah,
All of these different measurements as well.
yeah.
The concentration.
I'll try not to stick my tongue out as I'm.
Oh, I can't help it. I always do. I can't help it. I've always have done from being a child.
Have
Always
you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a
So
good
there's your
sound.
zip.
Perfect.
In perfect working order.
Lovely.
So just pick off all the bits and pieces that is left over from the unpicking.
John says, I put one zip into a pencil case once. It was perfect. Invisible too.
I
Never done
bet
it again.
it was, John.
Yep. But he's never done it again. He's not rushed back for a zip.
No.
Oh, that's fair enough. I mean, you've clearly peaked. There we are.
All right. Now what I would do just to finish off, and I'll do that a little bit afterwards because this is going to take up too much time really, but I would just start again where I left off with the zip, go across and then up. I would do at that stage,
Okay.
just to neaten it off. Now what you can do, you've got your zip in, so now you can then join your other two sides up.
Lovely. And again, that half-inch seam allowance.
Half-inch seam allowance.
Perfect.
It's the cutting out. When you see patterns and they say, oh, this is a 30-minute pattern or this is an hour pattern, it is sewing time.
Not all the prep and everything else. That's
Yeah.
quite misleading, isn't it?
I think it is.
But yeah, but how do they also know how fast people sew?
Exactly. I think it's a way just to get them to buy the patterns probably. That's quick and easy.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to look gorgeous. I first saw this fabric. Jenny Smith had made a dress out of the echinacea, and I remember just crossing the room going, what is that fabric? Where did you get it? It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's
She
really
looked
stunning, isn't it?
in
Really stands out.
Absolutely stunning.
And if you're going to make something for yourself, you know, why not
Well, do you know,
splurge out on really good,
yeah.
lovely, lovely fabric?
It's 15% off it as well today on our Black Friday. Stock up on your fabrics now.
So how much is this, a metre or half a metre?
I think it should be £7.95 normally for a half metre. But obviously take 15% off today. But everyone is predicting that the prices of fabrics got to go up.
Oh yeah, it
after
will
the
do.
pandemic.
Oh, it will do.
And it's not even, it's the little things that you don't even think about, that the price of a shipping container now has gone from £3,000 to ship across to
And
18.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah. And
Ridiculous.
it's also in the manufacturing process, isn't it?
Yeah,
Cost
yeah.
of electric and all sorts like that.
Have you lost your foot again? So this is, we're not basting this one, are we just going straight
No, this
through
is
it?
an ordinary stitch now because all we're doing is we're just stitching up the
Fabulous.
other side seam.
And when you say to people to zigzag the seam,
Yeah.
do you do each side individually zigzag down?
Yeah, you are meant to.
Yeah, okay, good.
I mean, there's no harm in you do it, but I mean, you won't be able to do it the seam that the zip is in. obviously because the zip's there, so you'd have to open out that zip. If I was overlocking, I do tend to overlock them together.
Yeah.
And then with the zip side, I would overlock it each side.
Right. Got it.
And with the waistband, you wouldn't need to zigzag the edges or overlock them anyway, because
Right.
they're going to be tucked in under, so they're going to be hidden. So that basically is the zip without a waistband. So if I pull it the other in round the right way, because to put the waistband on you have to have right side to right side,
Right, okay.
this being the right side.
Yeah. Wow, look at it though, it's going to be amazing. You see that? Pair of jeans, pair of tights and long
Yeah.
boots. Fab.
Yeah, how lovely is that? So have we got time to put the waistband on?
If we can do it quite quickly, then
Yep.
we're good. Yes.
Right, okay, so what I would do is with the waistband you use right side to right side.
Mm-hmm. Can you just bring it on the bench just a little bit further up
Yep.
for me? Lovely, thank you, so we can see.
So right side to right side, edge to edge.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you're going to do your 1/4 inch.
Right, got it. This is where that happens. So pinning all the way along. Where do we start? Is there a stop and a start?
Yeah, now what
Place.
I've done here, which I should have explained,
Yeah.
on the waistband you've got a seam
Mm-hmm.
where we joined them together. So I would always join seam to seam.
So,
So
but
if
and
you
not
join-
the zip side, the
Yeah,
other, the
so
other
because
side.
when you get to the zip side it needs to be open.
Right.
All right.
Got it. Yeah.
So yeah, so join the seam up to the seam and just make sure you've got it central.
And open that
Open
seam
that
up
out
as
a little
well.
bit.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a little trick of the trade when you get down to the bottom.
Oh, we like a good trick of the trade.
So when you turn it over, obviously you don't want a raw edge,
Mm.
so you want it turned in like that. And make sure that that is actually touching the sides of where you the
Can I
side
just
of
show
the
that
zip.
up on a close up so we can really
Yeah.
see that?
Now see where I've got this.
If you go up on the machine, up to the machine, there we go.
All right, so that's where that is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just putting that down so that it meets the
Lovely.
edge
Yeah,
of that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Good stuff.
And then you just come round the other side and do exactly the same.
Right. And you allowed for that, didn't you, in your measurements?
I did, yes. Because you're sewing as a zip, because you're sewing hooks and eyes on, you want something quite sturdy
Yes, of
to
course.
sew through for your hooks and eyes.
Excellent.
Nobody likes floppy hooks and eyes.
No, they do not. No, no, no. And we've got a good firm waist going on here as well. It's all going on.
So what I'll do is I'm going to show you just how to put the waistband on and how to turn it round,
Mm-hmm.
because the rest is just hand stitching.
Right.
And then when you come to the length, what you do is that you turn it up by 1/4 inch, like that. This is the hem, like that. Press it, because it's easier.
Yeah.
And then once you've done that, turn it up a further 1/4 inch and stitch round it like that to make a really neat hem.
Perfect.
And so
if
that's
you've got
how you do the hem.
overlock and then just turn up and press and stitch down.
You could do that. You could do that. It all depends on how you want, you know, how you want to present, you know, how you want to finish it. I do tend to turn it up twice myself,
So
but
then you don't have to see it. Yeah, you don't see anything.
but then you can
do you?
overlock it. It's up to you really. There's no right or wrong way. But some people prefer to have, you know, a certain finish on there.
Susan says that she's loving the dresses hanging behind Rachel. Beautiful designs. Susan, these are all for sale. They're one-offs. So if you've got a granddaughter or someone that, you know, would love a designer party dress but not at designer prices, they are all on the website. It's just they're there because the companies they were samples.
You won't get them again.
You won't get them again. No. Oh, Elizabeth wanted to know, did you reverse stitch? Didn't know about that even. So when I pressed it, it came apart. Yes, she did reverse stitch.
Yes.
Elizabeth. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've seen you always reverse stitch. And it becomes habit, doesn't it, as well? Yeah.
And it just holds it firm. Right, so I'm just going to stitch along the top of the waistband, and then I'll show you
this time. Quarter
of an inch on the waistband.
Yeah.
Oh, change my foot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're no longer doing a zip. And I'm using a 2.4 stitch here, which I think is good because you just need the you need it to be firm. You don't want it to be pulling apart.
And a straight stitch on here.
Straight stitch.
Perfect. Taking all those pins, isn't it, out you go, remembering to take those out.
Some machines as well, they have a 1/4 inch foot, so it's already measured out for you.
Oh, this does as well?
Is that what I've got on there at the moment? It might not be, no.
Not sure. I didn't look to see.
But it can make life easier, and, and if you've got these tools on your machine, use them.
Well, absolutely, this is the thing, isn't it?
Sorry.
And
Natasha.
I think sometimes, no, you go for it. I think sometimes we think that a 1/4 inch foot is only going to be for a quilter.
Yeah, it's not. No.
Just not true.
This is where where the divides can cross over.
Yeah. There's certainly a crossover without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, the machine that I use in my studio is actually a semi-professional musician. What am I saying?
Where did you whip up a musician from?
I think because I saw Singer. No, not really. No, not really. No.
Your jokes,
not really.
They're getting worse, Rachel.
Yeah. No, I don't know why I said musician then. Sorry. It's sort of semi-professional machine, and and with that machine, I've got a 1/4 inch foot. It's meant to be a quilting machine. It's actually meant to be a semi-pro quilting machine, but I make wedding dresses with it, so.
Oh, that's like my semi-pro. But then, can you do more than just a straight? Because my one just does a straight stitch.
It's got about 1,000 stitches on it.
Well,
not really. No, I'm not
saying
it's 1,000,
isn't
but
it?
Yeah.
All the stitches in all the world.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, isn't it? You know, when it is your job.
You just got to have, professional stuff, really.
Absolutely. Saves the taxman having it. Oh, Claire says, out of curiosity, I timed myself doing a pig from start to finish. I'd just like to clarify.
I've seen those little
That's
pigs
what's
actually.
Going on.
Very
Claire
clever, Claire.
Yeah, she's crocheting pigs in blankets.
You're definitely a crochet lady.
Is it your own design, Claire? But 2.5 hours. She only got up twice.
I think she, from what I can remember on Facebook, because obviously because Claire's a lovely lady, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
And from what I can gather, she actually saw a picture of one, and she posted it and said, "Oh, did you make that, Claire?" She said, "No." She said, "But I'm thinking of making one." And then, lo and behold, there it was.
Yeah, my brain doesn't work like that. I have full respect for anyone who does. What you doing? What you doing? Folding stuff over without telling me what you're doing.
Right. What I should have done was to have folded that over before I pushed it back. But it doesn't matter. But really what you should do is that you should fold it out, then push it back, then stitch it down so it actually pokes out to a thing there. That's because I've been talking.
Anyone would think.
Yeah.
Easily distracted.
But so that you've got this as sample, I'll do it properly.
Lovely.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to wear it and have it, you know,
No, exactly.
fall to bits. That would not be a great look.
We don't want people to say, "What's that old thing you're wearing?"
Who would dare say
Do
a thing?
you?
Who would dare say a thing
So,
like
to put the waistband on,
that?
it's a little bit of hand sewing. It's very, very easy. So you just
Okay,
turn
what
under.
stitch are we
You
going to use for this?
No stitch. You were going to you're going to do a slip stitch.
Yeah, so
Well,
a slip
yeah, by
stitch.
hand. Sorry, I thought. So we're just going to pin it all the way down.
Do we need to be pressing this or anything?
We will do in a moment because it makes it easier to hand stitch.
Okay. Yeah, so when I leave a turning through gap or something in
Yeah,
bags or anything like that, I'll always press the seam
yeah,
before I slip stitch. It just makes it easier.
yeah. It's just flatter and you can get your needle in there a little bit better. So you can see it coming on.
Hang on. Well, they would if I changed the angle. Perfect. Oh yeah, look at that.
Some
Lovely.
people like to what they call stitch and a ditch, and I'm not trying to be technical with people. Basically, all you do is that you pull out the seam like that, and you stitch where the stitches are.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Quilted
to
stitch in the
strengthen
ditch
it.
as well. Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
You tend to find it more, well, I suppose you do on skirts as well, skirt waistbands, but when we used to do alterations for the army.
Hang on. How many wedding dresses did you have to do for the army?
Oh, no, I didn't make any, but we used to have a lot of their army uniforms.
Right.
And we had a good business actually, but we used to have like a dry cleaning facility and we used to alter them, and in time for their parades, Gary used to reset all the medals, and if they had an extra medal, he'd reset them on different pins. He was really clever with all the different ribbons.
Well, this is a job that, hang on. This is an actual job.
Yes.
It's one that you don't get that in your careers advice at school, do you?
No, no.
I got accountant, teacher, lawyer. Don't want to do any of those, thank you very much.
Exactly.
But resetting medals?
Yeah. And they have to be reset.
Yeah.
I mean, the military, there might be some people on here that understand what I'm saying. The medal...
Just in case I don't.
I don't. No, I do. Only because of what Gary... obviously, I've watched Gary do it. But each of the ribbons, you can't put any old ribbon on any old medal. They have to be a specific ribbon on a specific medal.
So if you needed a replacement one, would he have to go back to the army to get a replacement ribbon so it got the right...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Gary could provide the ribbons, but the actual medals, they would have to have obtained them officially.
Not on the black market.
Well, I mean, because where we live as well, we live on the outskirts of the military in Lynham. Although we live in a little village,
Yeah.
the next village on is Lynham, where they've got a lot, the Remy, and in the
The
shop,
what?
the Remy it's called. Don't ask me what it means. Royal Engineers.
Oh, right, yeah, got you. Yeah, all of that.
So it's Royal Engineers something or other, but it's like a training thing,
Yeah.
you know, and
Known locally as the Remies, yeah.
and they've
We'll
got
stick
a
with that.
museum there,
Okay.
and in the museum they've got fake medals.
Fake ones?
Well, you know, medals that you can buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Fred's would be all over that. He loves a good medal.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they get medals for everything now at school. Oh, you sneezed. Have a medal. Well done.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. And everybody has to have one.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Mm.
I know my my
Kind of want to earn it.
yeah. Well, my grandson, they have dojo points, which I'm guessing is the similar sort of thing.
Dojo?
Yeah, it's called dojo points or something. I did try and get Alfie to explain to me, but
No.
he got fed up with trying to explain it to me. But basically, just earn points if they did a particular, you know, if they read well that day, or they helped the teacher, or something like that.
See, in the olden days, that'd be a house point.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not sure if you're allowed to
exactly.
have house points anymore, if that's not allowed either.
Were you ever a prefect?
Was I? No, don't think I was trusted with such things.
I wasn't.
I think I was a book monitor at some point, and that's about as far as I ever got.
My eldest son Matthew he was a prefect.
My brother was head boy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thing is, I think, I don't know, it's just I shouldn't really say, should I?
Yeah, you
It's
can
just
have
my
a personal opinion. Of course you can.
I just think sometimes when you put, you know, when there's other children that are, you know, just as good, it's almost sort of like saying to them, you're not good enough to be a prefect, do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm being wrong.
Oh, that's when you become milk monitor. Although they don't give milk in school anymore either.
Yeah,
Do
no.
you remember those little bottles of milk you used to get when you were a kid? They were
Warm
great.
milk. We used to have ours out of bottles.
Yeah, with a straw.
A crate used to come round.
Yeah. Again, don't do that anymore either.
Yeah.
I am beginning to sound like back in my day.
Yeah, back in my day.
Yeah.
And when Emily and Freddie get older, though, Natasha, you'll find them doing things or saying things. You say, you mustn't do that. And you think, my goodness, my mum used to tell me things like that. I used to be told off for exactly the same thing.
There's that episode of Friends, isn't there, where Rachel says, I was so busy trying not to become my mother.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I suddenly became like my father.
So here we go. So that's the waistband. So what you have to do is you can see the waistband there.
Oh,
you just literally slip stitch it. So I'll do a couple of little slip stitches so you can see that. And I always say it's the finishing off of a garment that takes longer than assembling it. But it's the finishing off that makes the really nice product.
Yeah, of course.
You have to take time to do it.
Isn't
Yeah, you have
There's
to
no
take
point
time
in,
to do it.
Spending the money on all the fabrics and everything else.
No, and then you just make a right hash of it. So.
This is a, sit down in front of a movie job, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, save all your hand stitching for that.
So what you do, if you can see here.
We're going in. There you go.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
So if you lift the waistband up slightly, you can see the row of stitching, which is the seam that you've made with the waistband and the top of the skirt. So what I would do, I would go up underneath one of those stitches, like that, through the fabric.
Yeah.
And I would do that a couple of times. I'm only doing it from the middle so that you can see a bit clearer.
Right.
So I'd do that a couple of times just to hold it. Really nice and neat. Then because it's double thickness, I would go along, not going through, but just through one of the layers like that.
Yeah, I go along the crease.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their own. Yeah. And then when you come to the top bit, then you go along the crease at the top.
Yeah.
So through the layers at the bottom, or one of the layers, you can feel it, and then along the top, like that. And then you can see, well, you can't see.
That's the whole point of
That's
it
the
being-
whole point. You can't see. As
You can see that you can't see it.
As you can see, you can't see, but you know what I mean. So you can see how.
You can
you
see
know-
how you can't see.
Yeah, exactly.
We're with you.
And that is a finishing point, really, as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. And then with the bottom seam, with the bottom hem on the bottom of the skirt,
Yep.
just
so
turn it
let
under,
me just.
turn it under, and then
Yeah.
just stitch on it.
So I'll do it slightly there. Oh, and also on the top of the waistband,
Yeah.
you put, as on here, look, I'll bring
Beryl.
Beryl over so you can see again. So I've got 2 hooks on there. Oop, there we go. Hooks on one side, eyes on the other.
Right.
All right. So just make sure that they obviously team up together.
Yes. So mark them before you
So
stitch
that-
them on.
Yeah. So it's nice and
Perfect.
neat. So just hooks on one side, eyes on the other, and that finishes that bit off.
Julia says that she loved the milk in winter because you had got ice crystals in the top.
Oh, can you remember milk being outside your front door when we used to have the full cream milk and the birds used to peck at it?
Yeah, we still have our milk outside.
And it's frozen and all the cream just used to burst
Onto
through the tops
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the-
yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. On the Isle of Man.
Those were the days.
Oh, hang on. Oh, Elizabeth, I can't know.
So with the hem,
Yeah.
you just turn up the hem by 1/4 inch.
Now, you see, we've got a nice whizzy thing from from the Golden Rule, the Lutterlow system, where you can fold up the hem and press it onto it, and it's got guides on it.
Oh,
I know.
that's
I know.
interesting.
Yeah. I've got all the gadgets here, Rachel.
If you haven't got that,
Yeah.
so then you turn it up 1/4, and what I would do is I would just press it down. It just makes it easier to work with.
Sure.
I'm just doing it a little bit because obviously you go all the way round.
Yeah.
So there's your press 1/4 inch press seam up,
Can you just move that into the middle so we can have a little look at that?
where I just pressed it there.
Yeah.
And then just turn it up again,
Mm-hmm.
and then just pop a little pin in.
And again, you're going along the fabric.
And then
with
you're
those
going
pins.
along, but look how
Yeah.
nice and neat that is along the bottom.
Oh, very smart. Yeah.
All right, and then you can actually machine stitch along there.
Perfect. Perfect.
that's it.
And that's it. That is your skirt.
Yes.
Well, it's actually my skirt.
Yeah, I will finish it off, don't worry.
That's
So-
going to flare out nice. Yeah, you see.
But this is what
Pair of
why it's
tights,
called
long
an
boots. Job
A,
done.
and that's why you can't have, if you have the 44 to 48 and you wanted it a maxi skirt or longer, you're going to come outside the lines, which means you're going to have to go narrower,
Yeah.
which might be too narrow for your hips.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, there's certain, to make it simple.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but that's why we've got the wider width fabrics for you.
Yeah.
Either the 56-inch, perfect,
Yeah,
or if you really want to make something.
yeah. And I'd use a wider fabric so you can come out wide, or
But
a floaty
also
skirt.
You
or,
could make it longer then, can't you?
Yeah,
If you go for the
absolutely.
super wide, then you can
yeah,
really go
yeah,
much
and
longer.
you make a nice maxi skirt.
Ooh, Susan says beautiful skirt and demo. Thank you, Rachel. Oh, hi, Jess.
And then, of course, you press it as well. Sorry, I
Press,
didn't
press,
tell
press,
you to do
press,
press.
Press. Well, I'm very much looking forward to that. Fabulous. Rachel, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. And guys, remember, you've got the dresses on the back there. If you know, goodness, you've got a pattern as well coming, haven't you, to how to make a different sash.
I have, yes, my rosy bow.
Yeah, with a bow, because this
Yeah.
is what we were thinking about. It's all very well investing in a dress like that, and they're beautiful,
Yeah.
and especially for parties over Christmas, New Year, and all of that. But if you can then switch it up with a
Yeah.
different colour, maybe a velvet ribbon for Christmas
Absolutely.
or something like that, it changes it completely.
And I do my rosy bows slightly different.
Okay.
All right, so with normally a dress, you have a sash that you can just tie in a bow at the back.
Yeah.
All right. With my rosy bow, it comes in 3 separate elements.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah, which makes it very different. easy to make.
Does this mean it's going to look like a bow the whole time?
Yes.
Ah, that's the
Absolutely.
thing. Because like it or not, getting a bow to actually look like a fancy bow on a sash, tricky.
Will it? Oh no, I haven't got my phone here, have I? I was going to say I have got a picture of it on my phone that I made.
Or pop it on Facebook and then
Yeah,
everyone can see
pop it on
what
there.
is to come.
And but basically, because it's in 3 different elements, the way I've made it, as you know, little girls run around and their bows keep coming undone.
Yep.
You have to keep tying
Yep.
it back up again.
Yeah,
This bow, you won't have to. Because
Amazing.
of the way it's made, it will
Perfect.
stay put.
perfect. Well, that's what I need, because Captain Small has a handful of dresses that she likes to, well, she wears sort of on demand.
Yeah.
We had a big thing the other morning about the fact she wanted her dark pink skirt.
Aren't you
Had to be her
funny?
dark pink
Oh,
skirt.
yeah.
It's not, it's light pink, but she doesn't actually understand the difference between light and
Ah,
no, not
bless
that
her.
one. So I
Yeah.
put her in the dark pink skirt. No, that's the wrong one. She actually wanted to like it. Yeah, that was my morning. Shades of pink.
Ah.
Yeah.
So even if you had a fairly plain dress, you could actually.
We could do all of that for
Yeah.
her. And then she feels like she's got lots of different dresses. She can choose all of those.
Yeah.
And that's just a really simple, easy
Yeah.
way, isn't it? To just
I
to
mean,
get a different look.
The rosy bow is how I make all my bridesmaids' dresses.
Oh, right. Okay,
Okay,
that's the one.
so when I make them for people, that's how I make them. I know
Yeah.
it's not on there, but if I ordinarily do, and the nice thing about it is you can colour coordinate. So if you've got a purple wedding,
Yeah,
you know, with purple bridesmaids,
then you can.
and then the little bridesmaids, I always think look quite nice in ivory,
Yeah.
actually, because they're little and they
Yeah.
can't really take strong colours, I don't think. So you can hot it up with a
Nice.
purple bow and a lovely little
Yeah,
bow at the back.
yeah. So what sizes are these dresses? If we just whiz through them very, very quickly
Yeah.
for everyone, because I'm aware of time and that we're going to have to go in a minute.
All 4 of these are age 5 to 6.
Right, okay.
All right. This one here is, I actually made this one.
That is beautiful. Look at the blue at the
that-
bottom, it's amazing.
Yeah, that was to fit a 7 to 8, but I know it can fit an 8 to 9.
Okay.
And this one here, what did we say that one was? 10. Was it 9 to 10? I'll just get it right for everybody. 9 to 10.
Okay. And these are more than half the price that they should have been.
Yeah, they are, and
Yeah.
and they used to sell like hotcakes in my shop.
I bet they did.
But because I can't repeat on them,
Yeah. There's no,
I can't.
you can't have them.
Yeah,
Of course
but and
not.
of course, sometimes people want 4 little bridesmaids or 2 little bridesmaids, and I've only got 1.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Got it.
yeah,
Perfect. Well, I would, make good use of that then.
yeah.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Rachel, thank you so much. Everyone's saying thank you so much. Elizabeth saying brilliant demo, Rachel. Elizabeth's also saying 40 shades of pink. That's my life, Elizabeth. That is my life. Which is the correct shade of pink? Who? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Pam says thank you, Rachel.
You're
Thank you
very,
much.
very welcome.
There
Thank
we
you,
go.
everyone.
There we go. Thank you everyone for watching. This pattern isn't available digitally. It is coming direct from Rachel.
Yes.
So we've had people asking, saying, "Oh, is it available digitally?"
Yeah.
But no,
They're literally being printed.
yeah.
So
and sent straight out by
from
you.
Monday they'll be able to be posted out. So
Lovely.
so just order away, and then
It's one of those things. Pop it in your stash, and then when you're ready,
yeah,
and the right fabric
it's
presents
a lovely
itself.
thing to have
Yeah.
as a pattern, that you a go-to pattern. And if you just say, you know, like if you went to a barbecue in the summer or something, or just say you wanted a winter skirt to wear, I don't know, wear to the pub or something at Christmas, you can just whip one up, can't you?
Very last question before we go. If I wanted to make Captain Small a matching mini-me one, do I still just make the pattern exactly as is?
Oh, what do you mean, the little one?
Yes.
Yeah, it should work exactly the same.
There we go.
That's the good thing about these patterns, because it's measurements.
Perfect.
But remember, all little children as well, they tend to be like that.
Got it.
Whereas us adults, they tend to be like that. So
I mean, some of us a bit more.
some of us are some of us are like that all the way down, you know. We don't,
That's a whole other show.
yeah.
Rachel, thank you.
That's
Thank
okay.
you, thank
It's
you.
lots of fun. Thank
Come
you.
back and bring us more of your wonderful patterns.
Oh, I'd love to. If people want me to come back, of course, I'd love to come
sure.
back.
I'm sure they
I've
would.
got 4 main patterns coming out and some little bits and pieces coming out.
Oh, fabulous. So Sylv says, brilliant demo. We'll have to watch properly later. Yes, you will.
Yeah.
Yes, you will. It's been a
Thank
long one
you.
today. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Rachel. Have a safe journey home.
Thank you very much.
And we will see you again very soon. Take care, everybody. Lots of love. See you on Monday, where that there John Cole Morgan will be there. Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.